My definition of a friend is someone you can confide in, someone who's honest with you, someone you can trust, and I've never felt that with you, Meg. I think I'm amicable with you because we all live in one villa together. No, I will never pretend to be your mate, and I've never have pretended to be your mate. I would never speak to you on the outside.
I'm here for the baddies because the baddies have always insisted that whatever we say behind your back, we will say to your face. So I'm here for Shakira standing there 10 toes deep with a full chest and telling Megan, I do not like you, I can't stand you. All that came to my mind with the lyrics of Not Like Us, as she was sort of saying that, because at the end of the day, Megan needed to be told about herself. She has had this vendetta against Shakira from the moment Shakira walked into the villa and the boys stood up for her and the boys showed interest, because she came in thinking that she was the bee's knees, only to be humbled when she realized that there was someone better than her. So for her to try and make it, oh, it's about the threesome comment, no, you've been horrible to Shakira from day one, so please take several seats. Take several seats. Look at the people in your clique. No one in your clique looks like Shakira, Billikis, or anybody else. So please take several seats. We're not here for it. And I'm here for Tony and Yasmin. They are what Shakira described as a friend, or defined as what a friendship should be, because they were not afraid to sort of back their girl and speak up, whereas Meg's friends were nowhere to be found. Hey, you are the company you keep. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island UK, Season 12, Episode 52. Since Blue returned to the villa, I've always questioned why he's been hard-pressed by Tony. And I can only think of two things. One, he is still upset at the idea that Tony called him out when he tried to use it as an excuse to be saved when he was dumped. And two, he's trying to provoke Tony to get a reaction. That way the viewers can turn against Tony, because he knows Tony's a fan favorite. And he knows when he leaves the villa, he'll get a storyline because of that. And I'm happy Tony's not giving him what he wants. Anyway, so we continue with the game. The next question is, which couple could not handle someone sliding into their partner's DMs? I'm surprised everybody didn't go for Megan, because I would have assumed it's Megan all the way. Anyway, Shakira says it's not yet time to pull the trigger, so she and Harry go for Tony and Cash. Tony and Cash are not offended because they know why. The Tony and Cash go for Meg and Dejon. They say it's because Meg has treated anyone that has shown interest in Dejon terribly, which is the truth though. It is the truth. Helena and Blue go for Meg and Dejon. Yaz and Jamie go for Meg and Dejon and reiterate the same reason. And they are not happy with this. Meg is not happy because she feels she's been forthcoming. She's been welcoming to everyone. Connor and Megan go for Shakira and Harry, because apparently Shakira didn't like Connor flirting with other people. And it's like, who would like their partner flirting with somebody else? Make it make sense. You wouldn't be happy, so please settle down. Angel and Ty go for Jamie and Yaz, and I think it's because they're trying to score brownie points with Megan for reasons best known to her. I think she needs to know she's already in the clique. She doesn't need to worry. They won't kick her out because they need her vote. Anyway, Meg and Dejon go for Connor and Meg, because apparently Meg is going to have celebrities sliding into her DMs. And it's like, if she had celebrities sliding into her DMs, she wouldn't have needed to come back into the villa. But that's just me. Next question, which couple is playing it safe? Harry and Shakira continue to sort of hold back. They put Ty and Angel, because Ty was single after being dumped by Shakira for Connor. So it makes sense that he jumped onto the Angel train, and Angel couldn't get Harry or whoever else. So she jumped onto the Ty train because they were both single. So that makes sense. With Tony and Cash, they go for Ty and Angel. It makes sense. Helena and Blue go for Yaz and Jamie. I think that was a silly excuse. I think this man is trying to get a reaction from the popular girls. That's the impression that I get. And I love that they said, oh, Jamie came into the villa. He didn't explore with anyone else. He just went straight for Yaz and stayed there. And I'm happy that Yaz, said I pounced on him. So it's not the other way around. Yaz and Jamie went for Connor and Meg. Connor and Meg went for Yaz and Jamie. And it was just like, it makes sense what Yaz and Jamie said, that Meg came in and went straight for Connor because she knew he was single. Shakira dumped him and never explored with anybody else and just said, oh, we are rekindling. But that makes sense. She could have explored with all the other guys in the villa, but she didn't. She just went straight for Connor because she knew she could play it safe. And Connor was single and he needed someone to play it safe with, so he stayed with her. With Angel and Ty, they went Yaz and Jamie. They're just following the trend. They're trying to appease their master. And then Meg and Dejon went for Tony and Cash. Apparently, it's because Tony, ever since, she only brought Cash back because she was worried that Harrison would bring somebody back, and when Harrison came back, she rekindled with him, and once Harrison left, she then pounced back onto Cash, and he was the second option. And it's like, why? I don't get why Cash is being nice to this man. Yes, people will say, oh, you're turning against your own boy, but his own boy is not saving him from the nonsense that is coming from his partner's mouth. Dejon should have pulled her back and told her, no, let's not say that. That's not nice. So for her to sit there and consider Cash a second option doesn't make sense. Anyway, last question was, which couple are you most afraid to give your honest opinion on? And I love this because the gloves came off and Shakira came out swinging and she said Meg and Dejon. Meg and Dejon said, no, you don't. If people were honest, then there wouldn't be any need. And I'm happy that Shakira bodied her. Shakira bodied this woman. She did a Kendrick Lamar because there was nothing else. There was nothing else. It was just like not like us, because she really told her the truth about herself. And for Meg to say, you'll never be my friend once we leave the villa, she hasn't been your friend in the villa where you're contained. So you can imagine in the whole wide world she would want to be your friend. I'm happy Shakira said, I can't stand you and I'll never be your friend. I'll never talk to you. And so there is nothing else Megan can say again to try and play victim. The fact that she tried to play victim and Dejon was sitting there and watching her regurgitate the nonsense she was saying doesn't make sense. If you are saying you're Harry's friend, why not respect Harry's partner? I don't get it. Anyway, you had Tony and Cash come out swinging as well. They said Megan Dejon and stood. What I loved is Tony, Shakira and Yasmin stood on business with their full chest and did not back down. And Tony said, the problem is, every time we try and say something, you deflect. You know best. You know what is right. We, the other islanders, don't know anything. The public don't know anything. You two know everything. No, it's just we do take constructive feedback. No, you don't. Because Dejon is always calculating what answer he thinks is appropriate. And I'm happy that Meg was called out when she was always saying, fake people. No, Shakira gave her the definition of a friend. And her friends did not back her. All three of them, surprisingly. And yet you had Shakira, Yasmin, and Tony tagging each other like they were wrestling, like you in, and I loved it. So next up was Blue. Obviously, Blue was going to speak about Tony and Cash, just because every time I try to give my feedback, you shut me down, and yet you can give feedback. I can't. Why are you giving feedback about somebody's relationship when you haven't been asked to give feedback? I don't get it. And I love that Tony didn't give him the reaction that he wanted. So he couldn't say anything because he's been looking for a storyline since he came into the villa. And sadly for him, Tony is not giving him what he wants. And so he looks like an idiot. Yaz and Jamie said Meg and Dejon, and it's like, let's go. And Yaz is right to say they belittle you, they patronize you, they make you feel inferior. And that's what Meg and Dejon do, because, they hate us, they're jealous of us, they're jealous people. Meg's vocabulary is no different to Ben. She shouldn't be laughing at Ben. She's got a fancy job title, maybe she knows someone, but at the end of the day, she is on her IQ and Ben same level, spirit level. You could draw a line straight from one person to the other. Just my opinion. Anyway, you have Connor and Meg. Connor says, I was in a couple with Shakira. I'm very close friends with Shakira, so if I say anything, it will be seen as though I'm jealous. I said this before, I'll say this again. Connor still likes Shakira romantically. Not as a friend, but romantically. With Angel and Ty, they went for Shakira and Harry. And it's like, make it make sense. Because, this exclusive and whatever. Nonsense, shut up. You're looking for brownie points. And then with Meg and Dejon, they went for Tony and Cash. When Tony and Cash gave their answer, Meg said she didn't want to answer. She wasn't going to just fight with an answer. And yet she has the audacity to call them out. When Blue tried to give you advice, you wouldn't listen. Why listen to Blue? Blue's not in a relationship. Blue has been rejected by 3 people. So what advice does he have to offer? Make that make sense? So once the game is finished, you have, the three girls, Yaz, Jamie, and Tony, go to the terrace while everybody else stays on the day beds. And I'm not sure whether production did this because of the tension that was there during the game, or whether the girls just chose to sit in different groups. And you have Blue sitting with Megan and Megan. I didn't see Helena. And it's like, you are calling Tony a pick-me, and yet you're sitting with the captain of the pick-me squad. And what does captain of pick-me squad decide to do? She decides to moan, when are we going to get a break? Why is it they're always calling us? Why is it they always have something to complain about us about? And it's like, what do you think, Sherlock Holmes? What do you think? For Dejon to say, oh, they're sitting there on the terrace, they're talking about us. And it's like, but you are sitting on the day beds and you're talking about them. So make that make sense. And what I find interesting is that because Megan couldn't get her way at going after the girls because she's not high IQ enough to sort of go word for word or bar for bar with the girls, she's now trying to recruit people. She's busy asking Cash, what do you think about this whole situation? And Cash is like, I think I'm missing something because I don't quite understand why all this is going on. It doesn't make sense to me. So I think I'm missing something. And I'm happy you stopped at that. Tony wasn't happy that Cash was there. And then the girls were like, no, don't worry. At least if he's there, then we can, hear what they were saying. And then there comes out this comment about Meg saying, how all this divide started? It started with a threesome comment. They made the threesome comment to Dejon. And then this is where everything started. And it's like, be honest, be truthful. Don't tell lies. Try and tell the truth because you're going to be embarrassed when you're called out on your nonsense. Anyway, the islanders get ready for the night. Everyone is getting dressed up. And surprisingly, they separated Shakira and Megan. You had Shakira sitting on the same side as Megan, but there was sort of Helena in between the two of them. And I have a feeling production did this in order to separate Shakira and Megan. Shakira must have said, I don't want to be anywhere around her. So I think this is why they did this. Once everyone is dressed, you have the islanders go out, pick up their drinks and go and sit out in their groups. Tony sits with Cash, and Cash is sort of regurgitating what he heard or what was being said. And he brings up the threesome comment. And Tony's like, I didn't say the threesome comment. Do you know who said the threesome comment? She said, I don't know. She reveals that it was Yaz. And she said, we were actually having a conversation with Dejon. I wish she had brought in where that started, because that all started after the game where it was revealed that Dejon had 20 threesomes. And then Yaz was saying, oh, do you want to have a threesome with us? And we can be your 21st. And he just laughed about it. And so personally, I don't think that's where the divide started. The divide started the moment Shakira came into the villa. She came in with Megan, and Megan realized that Shakira was going to be more popular than her. Not only more popular, she was more popular with the guys. And when Shakira started flirting with the guys all seemed interested in sort of jumping ship and going to Shakira. And this is where the divide started, because Meg and the rest of the girls sat at the mini fire pit talking about Shakira. And I think they expected Tony to come and join them because Tony had stolen Ben. And when Tony didn't do that and actually stayed with Shakira because they were isolating Shakira, this is where the divide started. And then when Yasmin came, they wanted to isolate her again, and Tony had to sort of stand beside Yasmin and sort of protect Yasmin, and even had words with Megan to say, you are saying this about us, but I cannot ignore Yasmin and leave her alone. So the audacity for this woman to go and sort of say that, oh, they started the divide by talking about the threesome comment. No, they didn't. You did, because you felt intimidated, because you knew you couldn't be able to stand up to them. This is why you wanted to isolate them. So the audacity to play victim, I do not get it. So you have Megan go and pull Harry for a chat. I think because she couldn't get Cash to sort of side with her and sort of 100% reinforce what she was saying, she decided to go to Harry and guilt Harry because they've been in this friendship. She's pulling him for a chat. She's complaining, you and I are friends. How could you sit there and watch her say all those bad things about me? I thought you were my friend. You should have protected me. I've had a very bad time. And it's like, Harry had a bad time. You didn't kick your guy out of bed to say, go and sit with Harry because Harry is struggling. And yet now today you want Harry to be the one to protect you from who? From his girl, after you provoked his girl. Make that make sense? Harry, I think, is a people pleaser because he just said, I don't agree with everything she said, because he's only seen things from one side. He hasn't had the luxury of seeing things from both sides. If he had seen things from both sides, then you would understand why the other girls feel the way they do. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's good for Megan to try and sort of put some someone in such an awkward position, because had Shakira pulled Dejon for a chat and said bar for bar what she said, the whole villa would have been in flames. So it's the hypocrisy for me. It's really daunting. Anyway, you have Yaz pull Jamie for a chat at the fire pit. She spoke about reflecting on her journey and how her sort of journey changed the moment he walked into the villa, and how she's had a positive experience with him because he's brought out sides of her that she never expected to be revealed. So she's happy about that. She really likes her time with him. And Yaz, being different, she actually told him, I'm not one to get emotional, but I just wanted to ask you if you'd be exclusive with me. And it was like, oh, I love this for them. I really do, because I think Yaz deserves it. This is personal growth. This is personal self-reflection. This is personal accountability and, going in there with an open mind. So I love it for her. He said, you beat me to it. I was going to ask you to be exclusive. So he's happy. She's happy. And I'm happy for them. I really am, because at the end of the day, we all want to be loved. So I always root for love, as I said. So I was happy that they did that. You then had Yaz go and tell her girls that I've asked him to be exclusive. Jamie told the guys that, Yaz beat me to it, but we're now exclusive. And it was really sweet. I really loved it for the two of them, because it's nice to see two people that just really like one another and are looking for love, find that in one another. And I can actually see them being a successful couple when they leave the villa, because they really seem to have all the ingredients to make it work. He sort of balances her out, she balances him out. The islanders get ready for bed. There's still tension in the bedroom and everybody goes to sleep. This Genius Blue is really trying very hard, isn't he? Because the energy that he's trying to bring into the villa, sadly, he's not making as much of a good impression as he hopes or he thinks he is. Anyway, the islanders get up, they go to get ready, and the girls are sort of moaning at the idea that, the boys seem to have had a better experience than them. Why didn't they get a girls' day? And the girls reveal that, well, because of the tension in the villa, this is why they would never get a girls' day, because the girls are not getting along, which makes sense. It does make sense. They're not getting along, so why give them a girls' day? And then there's this chat. Well, Helena says, well, we haven't had as much bombshells as the boys have. And you have Irish Megan sort of chime in, well, we couldn't get more bombshells because if we did, Meg would have lost her mind. Which is the truth, though, that Meg has only got along with people that didn't show Dejon interest. Anyone that paid Dejon attention has been on a hit list, so I'm not surprised. The islanders get ready, they leave the bedrooms, and then you have Dejon sitting with Blue and Harry. And this is what I think. I think when everybody else was asleep, Dejon and Meg were discussing the situation at the fire pit during the game. Because you have Dejon out of the blue start saying, oh, have you noticed that Meg has been different since she came back? She hasn't defended, normally you'd expect Megan to have defended Meg, like in the situation with Shakira, all the things that Shakira was saying, but she didn't even defend her, she just left her. And it's like, why are you upset about Meg not defending her when the person who's been with her all this time was sitting right there? Why are we not complaining about Helena? Why are we complaining about Megan? Why is it Megan should be Professor Saver when her number 2 in charge is sitting right next to her? I don't get it. And then you had Blue sort of say maybe she's had an opportunity, because when you're in the real world, you get to see both sides. And sadly for Dejon, that didn't click. He didn't ask, what do you mean both sides? And then you had Blue reveal. I don't know who gave him the go-ahead to reveal. This, I assume, is why production brought him in, or they must have told him to reveal it. He came out with the fact that maybe she doesn't want to get in trouble because Shakira, Tony, and Yaz are the people's favorites, so she doesn't want to go against that, and the other girls are seen as the mean girls. And somehow we brushed over it. The boys weren't keen to find out why their girls are being called mean, or Dejon wasn't keen to find out why his girl is being called a mean girl. Instead, he was looking for ammunition to go after Megan. I assume this is the plan that he came up with Meg while they was asleep in bed. She must have complained bitterly that, why didn't Megan defend me? And it's like Helena was there. Anyway, it's then revealed that apparently they went to tape and Megan was throwing a fit because Tommy was making out with Lucy. And it's like, oh God, make it make sense. So the boys decide, we need to tell Connor, we need to tell. Well, Harry is the one who immediately said, we need to tell Connor about this, we need to tell. I think because Harry previously got in trouble when they were whispering behind Shakira's back that Shakira still liked him and Connor kicked off. So I think this is why they decided to, well, in my opinion, I want to be, skeptical and just assume that's why Harry decided to do it. I don't think he had any malintent. Dejon, on the other hand, with Blue were being malicious. I don't think Harry was. So they called Connor to the fire pit before they pulled him for a chat. You had Meg sort of sitting with the other people sort of on the lawn, and she's asking, why are the boys having that conversation? Why are the boys, what's going on? So they sat down with Connor and then revealed to Connor that, this is what was said. Meg was talking to Tommy when they left the villa. She seems they were exploring a connection. She threw a fit in tape, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh my God. I'm surprised that Connor was very relaxed and very laid back and very chill about it. He didn't kick off like he did with the Shakira situation, which leads me to believe that either he's skeptical because of who the information is coming from, or he doesn't give a damn about Megan and he knows that they're just going through the motions until the end of the show. So you then had him pull Megan for a chat, and it's like, oh God, what do you think she's going to say? Megan is not stupid. She really is not stupid. She's watched the show. She's seen the direction the show is going at, and she's going to, follow that trend. He did ask her, I heard you were talking to Tommy. Why were you talking to Tommy? I feel like Megan was trying to explore a connection or trying to get back into Tommy's good books. That way the viewers could forgive her, because she knew she had a lot of backlash after leaving the villa. And so for her to say, I still had feelings, I wanted to just explore that and shut that down and whatever. And you have Connor saying, I'm not going to take it seriously, because he then also brought up the situation that why didn't you defend Meg before you were outspoken? She is not silly. I'm going to say this about Megan. Megan is not silly, because at the end of the day, she's seen the backlash from people hating against Meg and Helena. So she's not going to want part of that smoke. And also, it could be she's seen how Connor has kicked off every time a girl he's been in a couple with has been confrontational. And so she's decided to play, the submissive partner, the caring partner. That way Connor doesn't kick off, because she's worried that if she kicks off, Connor's going to behave the same way he behaved against Billikis, against, who was it, Emma. So she is trying to err on the side of caution and be in Connor's good books. That's the impression that I got. You then had Meg with Helena and Dejon, and they're sort of having this conversation. Oh, apparently she's very quiet, she's very different, and she made a comment I didn't like. And it's like, seriously, this is a conversation, a plan that was designed by Meg and Dejon. And Meg knew that she didn't want to be at the forefront after being called out by Shakira. So she's decided to send her minion to go out there and fight her battle, because anyone with ears to hear Dejon is telling them that Meg is behaving differently. Why didn't she defend Meg? Why didn't she defend Meg? It's like the three of you are sitting there. Why not look at Helena and ask Helena, why didn't you defend Meg? That would make more sense for you to ask. Why did you not defend Meg, your best friend? You've been together since day one. You call each other besties. Why didn't you defend her? But no, obviously they're not going to say that. Meg brought up a comment that was made by Megan, which she didn't like, when Megan said, Meg would have thrown a fifth if we had any more bombshells. And it's like, make it make sense. I really don't get it. I really don't. And I don't understand it. You had Dejon also complain that apparently she knew about the grafties and what the girls were saying. So I'm surprised she didn't tell you. She should have warned you that this is what is being said in the real world. That way you were prepared. And it's like, well, production would never have allowed her, because that would have taken away the surprise element from the grafties. So why are you going after her? And because Megan was feeling some type of way, she then had a conversation with Dejon with Helena there. And she was saying, I've been away for 3 weeks. I didn't want to say anything because I might have missed certain things that have taken place. So this is why I would just wanted to keep quiet and just watch what was going on. I know normally I would have stuck up for her, but at this point I just didn't want to stick up. I just wanted to mind my own business because I didn't know what had been taking place in my absence. That makes sense, but I don't think that's the reason. I think she doesn't want the backlash from the viewers, and this is why she stuck to it. And then Megan was standing there in the background, just hovering, and then she had to call her that, Meg, can you come over? Which leads me to believe again, this was all orchestrated by Meg. This was all Meg's doing. And sadly, she is eating up her own friends, and she is hiding her hand. So she's throwing rocks and hiding her hand so that people don't call her out that, why are you creating problems for your friend? That's the impression that I get. They then go to the changing room with Angel. I don't get what Angel sees in those girls, but then she could be one of them. Hey, birds of a feather flock together. And they have this back and forth conversation about, I really didn't want to say anything, and I'm sorry if I offended you. My comment was never to offend you. Oh, we're tired. We don't want to hear about it. On the daybeds, you have Tony and Shakira with Yas, and suddenly they're joined by Blue. And Blue has the audacity to say to Shakira, Shakira, what is your worst date? You could tell the girls didn't want to speak to him. They must have been forced by production to allow him to sit with them because they really didn't have any nonsense to say to him. Because Shakira said, I've never had any bad dates. That's it. And a text message came in. Islanders, it's time to pull out all the stops as you take center stage in tonight's talent show. Hashtag time to stand on show business. And it's like, oh, it's about to be messy. So the Islanders had the talent show. The talent show, for me, nothing stood out, really. Let's be for real. The talent show, nothing stood out because at the end of the day, it was just boring. You had Dejon first. He was a PT, so he divided the people into groups, and then he had Connor and Megan compete against Shakira and Harry. The girls sort of joked that you split us in groups again, but they were more or less divided in their groups as the baddies and the clique, so it just made sense. Connor and Megan won that. Next up, we had Cash. Cash danced because Cash is a dance model, slash model. So I thought it was cute. It was really cute. Tony seemed very excited and she was cheering for him. So it was nice that he did something he's good at. Although we didn't get to see all of it, we only got to see snippets of it. I don't know why production did that. Next up was Megan. She did spinning plates and hula hoop. Those are kiddie games. I don't know why she couldn't have come up with something else a bit better. Maybe I'm skeptical because it's her. Next up was Blue with kickboxing for dummies because he wasn't good at it. Whether he's attended a class or two, I don't know. To think he's actually a kickbox instructor, I don't think so. I don't know. That's what he called himself. He fell when he was doing one of his moves. He missed a couple of his moves. So, hey, act like a clown. You are a clown. Anyway, next up was Ty and Angel. They were a magic show. I think production set it up for her to be that way. That's the impression that I get. I think production set it up for her to I don't think she's that good at magic. But hey, I'm very skeptical of magic. So she gave Ty card. Ty chose a 7 of hearts, and then she was able to predict that he had picked up a 7 of hearts. There are cameras there. She could be having an earpiece and be told what card he picked. So I don't buy that. Then we had Helena. Well, she did a couple of jokes at Harry's expense and she was happy that people were laughing at Harry's expense. And it's like, not really. It was very sad that she couldn't memorize the stuff and she had to read it and she struggled to read it off the cards. So I don't know why she thought that was a good idea. I'm surprised that we didn't get to see the rest of the games, but I assume they're going to be tomorrow when we have the dumping, because obviously there will be a dumping. If I'm being skeptical, who do I think is going to be dumped? I think Helena and Blue might be in trouble just because they're not bringing anything to the storyline. We barely got to see Helena. All we hear her talk about is Harry. So production, I think, want to move away from the Harry storyline. So there is a strong possibility she might go home. Meg and Dejon are the villains at the moment. So I don't think production will want them to go home, because if they send them home, then what will the viewers talk about? So I think they're going to keep them there as villains and then have their ex-islanders come and dump them at some point. I can't wait to see what happens. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 51. Bye guys.